Since the dawn of time for humanity, necessary for our survival was the primal urge to attach oneself to a clan or a group, for security and preservation of the family. It was an integral part of our survival mechanism. It's called tribalism. Small groups became larger ones or amalgamated with others as time went by. Tribes grew in size and stature, eventually becoming nations with their own language, their own god, and territory. What was necessary for survival was also responsible for the demise and destruction of clans or tribes that were weak or inferior, many completely eradicated, as history confirms. Our modern world is fragmented with different branches of society still affected by this primal urge of tribalism. It's found in all aspects of life: politics, business, sport, and religion. The need to belong to a group is a source of security for people of faith, providing comfort, security, and hope for a better life. There is no shortage of faith-based institutions, mainstream or breakaway religious orders that have become powerful and successful business in their own right, catering for those searching for a religious group driven by the urge to belong. Many have found happiness in doing so. Others regret choosing that path, convinced it was a tragic mistake. In their haste to find security, millions of people became involved in religious orders that can only be described as a cult or high-controlled institutions, gradually taking over people's lives, promising great rewards while delivering very little. Most religious organizations have become financially successful, extracting huge sums of money from the laity, all in the name of God, whoever that might be. If you are considering joining a religious order, it is advisable to be cautious and give yourself time to examine its credibility first. It may be advisable to share your intentions with someone who retains objectivity on the subject of religion, and not someone who is already subjectively or emotionally involved with a group. If you are reluctant to find that someone, that in itself is a red flag that should not be ignored. Give serious consideration to independent research apart from your church of interest. Ask the hard questions, the reviews, testimony from ex-members, as they are well placed to give you an accurate assessment. A simple test is to inquire from your church of interest if it's advisable to search the internet for information about their church. If they discourage you from doing so or insist that their church website is the only recommended source of accurate information, then that in itself is another red flag. Ask if their doctrines are based on a sacred book, be it a Bible or some other sacred text. If it is, there is a clear warning. Inquire as to who the founder of the church is. It could be just an individual with a troubled past. If they say Jesus Christ or God is the founder of the church, that is misleading. Are you encouraged to sever ties with family or friends who are non-believers or former members? Does the church have a shunning policy implemented to the extreme? Is there a fear factor that motivates the church? Constant talk of the end times, Armageddon, the last days, a doomsday culture. Is your safety or life dependent on joining this group to survive the impending doom? Do they claim to be the only true church, be it Christian or some other? Do they claim to be God's earthly organization and the only religious order approved by God? Are other religious organizations viewed as part of Satan's system, under his control and worthy of destruction? If you become a member of the church and later decide you want to leave and join another religious order instead, you write a letter of resignation or provide a verbal statement denoting your decision, are you free to leave? If they say yes, that may be untrue. There is always a price to pay for leaving. Talking to ex-members who have left may be the course of wisdom in this case. Research the structure of the church. Is it run by a single person or a group of people? Do they claim to be infallible? Have they given themselves a title that gives them authority over the congregated worshippers or the laity? Do they claim to be appointed by God and therefore are God's exclusive channel of communication to the church? Have they equated themselves with God? For example, obedience to them is equal to obedience to God. These are serious red flags that should be given very serious consideration. Do they discourage high education or secular pursuits and recommend church activities instead? Do they have a history of false or inaccurate predictions? Is their financial status transparent and open for all church members to investigate and not just a privileged few? Have you noticed strange behavior or practices or a fanatical implementation of their sacred texts, rules and regulations? Does the leader of the church claim to be a special prophet of God or the reincarnation of Jesus Christ himself? Are you required to attend church more than once a week? If you miss going to church for a while, will you be paid a visit by church officials at some stage? Is it the atmosphere of love and joy in the church that attracts you and the feeling of belonging, the security and the comfort of friends therein? Do you truly understand church doctrines, and can you personally defend these doctrines with their holy book if asked to do so? To those searching for God through the institution of religion, it is essential to understand that religion is not the exclusive entry point in your search for God. Your church of interest will have a doctrine explaining the identity or definition of God. It could be wrong. Have the courage to ask the hard questions, such as, is there a God? Is the ultimate power of the universe a higher form of intelligence, God? Do we really need a God? Or is it our weak-minded insecurities that's the driving force behind our endeavour to belong to a religious tribe? If you are in a high-control or authoritarian church, you will encounter at some stage a state of mind that is common with tribalism, or in this case, religious tribalism. It's a gradual process of becoming disconnected from reality. Unknown to you, but blatantly obvious to others or former friends outside of your religious circle. You slowly distance yourself from former friends and relatives. They notice it. You may not. Your natural affection for fellow man changes. A hardened attitude or a callousness toward people outside of your group or religious order. You are totally oblivious to your own conduct. If you have a parent who is no longer part of your religious circle or disagrees with it, when was the last time you spoke to or invited your parent to share a meal, or just pay a casual visit to see if they're okay? When weeks become months, months into years, and in some cases decades, the mind-altering effect of being in a cult or an oppressive religious order creates an unnatural mindset, a lack of empathy, unnatural human behavior. Parents likewise are also capable of treating their adult children who have left the sect in the same way, totally oblivious to their own behavior. Mind control has taken over your sense of decency. You may be a victim of a high-control church, or even worse, a cult. Identifying a cult may not be possible when you are an integral part of it. It will require a friend to bring it to your attention. An example of the manipulative power of religious organizations and their ability to coerce and convince ordinary people to believe doctrines that are clearly wrong and against the natural order of things was a group that started in the 1800s, eventually promising everlasting life to its followers, never dying, living forever. It predicted the great Armageddon would soon vent its destructive force on the world of mankind. Members of the church would survive this event and be ushered into a new world order, cheat death, and live forever on paradise earth. Millions will never die was the slogan of the day. That group still exists. And even though that cataclysmic event did not occur, it is still prophesied to come any day now. Its followers still believe to this day they can cheat death and live forever. This destructive doctrine has ruined the lives of millions of people, putting their lives and goals on hold on the belief the end was coming and God would reward their sacrifice by bestowing unbelievable blessings and rewards on them personally for their faithful service. Religious deception and scams are alive and well. Thanks to the proliferation of information, members of all religious organizations that are questionable are slowly but surely becoming aware and taking the necessary action to protect themselves. Accurate knowledge is power. It gives you the power to take control of your life. In this day and age, there is no excuse for ignorance. The availability of data and the testimony of millions who have learnt the hard way is impossible to ignore.